Rain hammered the cracked asphalt of a forgotten highway outside Santa Rosa, a desolate stretch where the desert met the edge of nowhere. Miguel Vargas gripped a pistol so tightly his knuckles whitened, the cold metal biting into his palm like a promise of damnation. His breath came in ragged bursts, mingling with the downpour that soaked his shirt to his skin. Before him, under the weak flicker of a dying street lamp, knelt Raúl, the man who had pulled him from the gutters, the brother he never had by blood. Raúl's eyes held no anger, only a quiet resignation, as if he had seen this moment coming for years. Headlights pierced the night from the south, growing brighter, the low growl of an engine cutting through the storm. Time was up. Miguel's finger hovered over the trigger. One decision. One pull. And everything he had built, power, and wealth, survival, would be secured, or so he told himself. But deep in his chest a voice whispered that this was the moment his fate shattered. How did it come to this? The story begins years earlier in the suffocating heat of San Alvaro, a crumbling town swallowed by dust and despair. Miguel Vargas entered the world screaming as if he already knew the misery that awaited. Born in a shack of corrugated tin and salvaged wood on the outskirts of San Alvaro, he was the third son of Rosa and Thomas Vargas. Rosa scrubbed floors until her hands bled, her back bent from years of hauling buckets for the wealthy families in the town center, families who tossed her a few coins without ever meeting her eyes. Thomas, once a mechanic, with dreams of fixing trucks for the big haulers, drowned his failures in cheap tequila, his temper flaring like a match in dry grass. Nights were filled with shouts, crashes, and the sound of Rosa's sobs muffled behind thin walls. Miguel learned early that survival meant silence and speed. At 8, he scavenged the market dumps for half-rotten fruit, dodging stray dogs and rival kids with sharper elbows. By 12, he was running errands for local shop owners, fetching cigarettes, delivering whispers of gossip for a few pesos that bought rice for the family pot. School was a joke. He dropped out after a teacher beat him for dozing during lessons on algebra he knew he'd never use. "Books won't fill your belly," his mother would say, her voice weary but proud when he handed over his earnings. Poverty wasn't just a condition in San Alvaro, it was a predator stalking every corner. Neighbors vanished into the night, allured by promises of easy money across the border. Some returned in body bags riddled with bullets for saying no to the wrong people. Miguel watched it all, his jaw set, vowing silently that he would break the cycle. He would not die in that shack, forgotten and broke. The spark ignited at 17. His cousin, little Paco, just 15 and cocky with dreams of being a soccer star, got mixed up with a group passing packages through town. "It's easy, Miguel," Paco bragged one evening, flashing a wad of bills from his first run. "Just carry a backpack over the hill, no one checks kids." Miguel warned him, but Paco laughed it off. 2 nights later, gunshots echoed through the alleys. Miguel found Paco slumped against a wall, his soccer ball stained red, eyes staring blankly at the stars. The package was gone, and so was Paco's future. Kneeling beside the body, rain mixing with blood on the cobblestones, Miguel felt something harden inside him. Ambition, raw and unfiltered, like a fever that wouldn't break. He swore then, never poor, never powerless, he would climb, no matter the cost. 2 years drifted by in a haze of dead-end jobs, washing cars for tourists who pitied him, hauling crates at the docks until his shoulders screamed. Then, at 22, fate knocked in the form of a sleek black SUV, pulling up beside him as he wiped sweat from his brow after a 12-hour shift. Out, stepped Don Esteban, a man who seemed carved from shadow and silk. Mid-50s, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit that cost more than Miguel's yearly wage, Esteban moved with the quiet authority of someone who owned the air around him, his eyes, dark and unreadable, fixed on Miguel. "You look like a man who wants more," Esteban said, voice smooth as aged whiskey. "Los Ardientes could use someone with your fire." Miguel had heard the whispers. Los Ardientes, the shadow network that moved goods through the hills, untouchable by cops or rivals. They weren't like the sloppy gangs in town. They were a machine, efficient and merciless. Esteban didn't recruit just anyone. He saw potential in Miguel's steady gaze, the coiled energy of a man ready to snap. The first job came a week later. Simple, Esteban promised. Escort a truck of medicinal herbs through a rural checkpoint. Miguel rode shotgun, heart pounding as the truck rumbled toward the barrier. The officer, bored and heavy-lidded, waved them through at first. But suspicion flickered. He demanded to inspect the cargo. Miguel's mouth went dry. Beside him, Esteban's enforcer, a hulking figure named Toro, leaned close. "You know what to do, Chico, or we all eat bullets tonight." Miguel stepped out, palms slick. The officer turned, hand on his holster. Time slowed. Miguel's mind raced. Paco's bloodied face, his mother's empty pot, the shack's leaking roof. He drew the pistol. Toro slipped him, fired once. The crack split the night. The officer crumpled, eyes wide in shock. They drove on. Miguel's hands shook for days, nausea twisting his gut at every meal. But the payout, 10,000 pesos, changed everything. Rosa wept when he handed her enough for a real house, far from the slums. Guilt gnawed, but greed whispered louder. This was the path out. Esteban took note. "You chose life," he said, clapping Miguel's shoulder. "Now you earn it." Miguel's ascent was swift, fueled by a mix of cunning and ruthlessness. He started as a runner, memorizing routes through the labyrinthine hills where drones couldn't follow and satellites went blind. He learned the language of shadows, codes for shipments, signals for ambushes, the art of disappearing before blood dried. By 25, he was handling negotiations with shaky suppliers in remote villages. One deal soured when a farmer shorted the load, claiming drought ruined the crop. Miguel didn't raise his voice. He simply described in calm detail what happened to the last man who lied. The farmer tripled the delivery by dawn. Esteban promoted him on the spot. "You're not muscle, you're the ghost." The ghost of Los Ardientes. Miguel vanished into crowds, struck from ledgers, a name whispered only when deals closed clean. He dressed sharper now, crisp shirts, the gold chain glinting at his neck. He moved his mother to a villa overlooking the valley, hired guards she didn't know she needed. Thomas sobered up briefly, mumbling gratitude before relapsing into his bottles. Power crept in like smoke, subtle at first. Women noticed him. Respect followed his shadow, but each rung climbed chipped away at the boy from the shack. He ordered his first kill at 27, a rival scout sniffing too close to a warehouse. No hesitation that time, just a nod to Toro, and it was done. Sleep came easier after. Raúl entered the picture early, the anchor in Miguel's storm, hulking and loyal, with a laugh like thunder. Raúl had recruited Miguel under Esteban's orders, but became more than muscle. They shared meals in hidden safe houses, swapping stories of San Alvaro's streets. Raúl, older by 5 years, spoke of a wife and daughter he sent north, dreaming of joining them clean one day. "This life's a ladder, hermano," he'd say, "but ladders break." Miguel trusted him implicitly. Raúl covered his blind spots, brawls Miguel avoided, debts collected without fuss. In a world of snakes, Raúl was the one constant. Years blurred into a rhythm of risk and reward. Los Ardientes swelled under Esteban's vision, routes stretching to coastal ports where ships vanished into fog. Miguel orchestrated it all: bribes to federales, diversions with decoy trucks, midnight handoffs under starless skies. He dodged 2 raids, once driving through a hail of bullets, glass shattering around him like brittle ice. Esteban gifted him a pistol engraved with his initials after that. "My right hand," the Don called him, but cracks formed. Rivals, or a brutal outfit called Los Sombras, chipped at territories, leaving mutilated bodies as warnings. Esteban grew paranoid, his soft voice hardening. Loyalty tests multiplied, petty at first, then lethal. Kill a disloyal lieutenant, burn a warehouse to ash. Miguel complied, each act eroding the man Raúl once knew. The summit came on a sweltering night in Esteban's hilltop compound, a fortress of stone and steel overlooking San Alvaro's lights. Smoke curled from cigars as underbosses gathered. Esteban paced, cane tapping like a metronome. "Roots are leaking," he snarled. "Someone's talking." Fingers pointed. Evidence was thin, a tampered lock, a delayed shipment. Esteban's gaze landed on Raúl, who had overseen the last run. "My old friend," Esteban said, voice dripping venom. "Or a traitor." Raúl stood firm. "I'd die before betraying you. Don." Miguel's stomach knotted. He knew Raúl, the man was clean, but doubt festered. Had Raúl's family pleas softened him? Esteban turned to Miguel. "You vouch for him, Ghost, or prove where your loyalty lies." The room stilled. Raúl met Miguel's eyes, a silent plea. "Choose wisely." But Esteban's enforcers shifted, hands on weapons. "Refuse," and Miguel joined Raúl in the pit. "One decision, Miguel," Esteban pressed, cane gleaming. "Brother or future?" They drove Raúl to the highway that night, blindfolded, hands bound. Rain lashed the pickup as Toro shoved him to his knees. Esteban watched from the truck, silhouette impassive. "End it," he commanded. Miguel raised the pistol. Raúl lifted his head, rain tracing paths down his face. No words passed, just a nod, acceptance in the dim light. Miguel's world narrowed to the trigger, the storm, and the brother at his feet. He fired. The shot echoed, swallowed by thunder. Raúl slumped, lifeless. Toro dragged the body into the ditch. Esteban nodded approval. "Welcome to the top, Miguel." But the top was ice, cracking underfoot. Sleep fled Miguel after that. Raúl's face haunted him. In mirrors, puddles, the flicker of candles. Deals soured. Suppliers sensed weakness. Los Sombras struck harder, torching a convoy Miguel supervised. 8 men burned alive, their screams chasing him into nightmares. Esteban's paranoia peaked. He saw threats everywhere, purging lieutenants on whims. Miguel buried bodies weakly, hands raw from lime pits. Whispers spread, the ghost was cracking. Fracture hit like lightning. A mole, real this time, fed intel to federales. Raids hammered Los Ardientes. Esteban vanished in a hail of gunfire during a summit, and betrayed by his own inner circle. Bodies piled in Santa Rosa's streets, the air thick with cordite and fear. Miguel fled south, shedding identities like snakeskin. He crossed borders on foot, blisters bleeding, gold sewn into his boots. Safe houses welcomed him briefly, but trust evaporated. Rivals hunted the ghost, cops chased the butcher. He washed up in a coastal fleabag motel, a shell of the man who once commanded empires. Wealth dwindled, bribes, fake papers, endless running. His mother's letters stopped. Rumors said federales questioned her. Then silence. Thomas drank himself dead, alone. Years carved Miguel into an old man at 42. He sat by the motel window, sea crashing below, hands trembling not from cold, but memory. Raúl's eyes stared back from the waves. One decision. It bought power, but stole peace. It promised ascent, but delivered exile. Sun dipped low, painting the horizon blood red. Miguel whispered Raúl's name, the sound lost to the wind. His eyes closed, chest stilling. Fate, claimed at gunpoint, had exacted its toll. Fade to black. One choice can build an empire. The same choice buries it. And you,